Each one of us has a story, and each story has taken us down some very circuitous roads for sure. It hasn't been a linear path for any of us, really, and the more we try to plan out our lives, the more we find ourselves surprised, the more we find ourselves in the moment shifting gears. That's really what life's about. When we're moving in a direction toward a goal, toward a vision, when we're being catalyzed by our passion, we are having experiences all along the way. It's like this road that you see here, waves. There are peaks and there are valleys. And when we're on the peaks, life just feels incredible. And when we're in the valleys, life maybe doesn't feel so incredible. Those valleys, however, are really the places where we get to do our deepest work, because the peaks are where we get to reap all of the work that we've done and sown in our valleys. I recently heard a quote that was quite amazing to me, and I felt a little chagrined that I hadn't thought of this on my own. Fear is the movement toward truth. I love that. I want a bumper sticker of that quote. Finding bottom is a great place to hit because it lets you know that you're really at a place of movement. You're really at a place of alignment. You're really ready to make a shift, to make a change, and to galvanize all of the resources that you have to allow yourself to be in the direction that truly matches with your heart and your soul. The dark night of the soul is actually a spiritual term used commonly in Christianity. And I'm going to read a little bit here. It's most classically described by the 16th century Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross, and he described the step-by-step journey that a human soul undergoes in evolving from worldliness to a union with the divine. He talks about the journey being harrowing. It involves great pain, annihilation, and the loss of everything familiar. It's just bad, and there's no help, and it goes on for a while. And this is because only by purging oneself of old habits, old tastes, or attachments, and limited understandings, one can begin to become clear and sensitive enough to perceive the divine level of reality. It's like cleaning out glass so that you can really see the transparency and beauty and the lucidity of what the material is offering us when light is shining through it. He compares it to how your palate must be cleansed and healthy in order to taste even the most delicate, subtle tastes. According to St. John of the Cross, the divine is sending out illumination the whole time during the dark night to tempt the soul in the right direction and foment yearning for the divine. But the soul is so off track it can barely perceive divine light or love until it has been purged further. Eventually, critical mass is reached, and the soul is healed enough to not only feel strong yearning for the divine, but to be assertive about pursuing divine love and grabbing it and holding on. I remember reading a passage in the book by Parker Palmer, and he talked about rock climbing and how he got stuck at some point, and the only way to move through wherever he was through this cave in the middle of the wall, and so he finally did so, and when he did, it was incredible because he had so much fear about entering this wall, and everyone below who was holding on to the ropes was cheering him on and encouraging him to go through the hole. And it's what we do when we have come to a place of one of the valleys in our life. I personally have been through a lot, and every time I have hit a place that is low, uncomfortable, and miserable, when I allow myself to fully move through that pain, what I notice is as I come out into the light, the feeling that I have is absolutely amazing. It's like the rupture that you have with yourself is going through a repair, and that repair process is just beautiful. I like to use the hero's journey model because I think it speaks beautifully to the human experience and the human trajectory. So Joseph Campbell invented this model, and it's in a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. I'm going to read an excerpt from that book. Joseph Campbell wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, in which he described a classic mythological storyline that can be found in all times and all places. It has several consistent components. The hero is minding his or her own business, and initially resists the call to some kind of otherworldly journey. But the transition to and out of this world experience begins anyway, and there are many trials and ordeals. It's bad, goes on a while, and according to Campbell, there is no apparent help, but in fact, there is occult help going on the whole time. There is a soul searching and a purification and even death, temporary death or partial death. This could be interpreted as sickness or relationships ending, transitions that seem very life-changing, for example. There is some kind of breakthrough, special wisdom, or power achieved. Campbell underscores the fact that once this happens, the hero might even resist returning to the everyday world. But once again, occult help guides the hero on the return journey and over the threshold of regular reality, which he or she crosses while retaining his or her special acquisition. I went through this very recently. I quit my consulting gig at Facebook, left for Southeast Asia for 2 months, had no idea what I was going to do when I got back, and here I am, designing this whole curriculum of transformation. Here are 10 of the 12 steps for the hero or heroine's journey, as I like to say as well. I want you to go through the steps and find out where is it that you are right now. What is most resonant with one of these steps? When you find the one that is most resonant with you, go ahead and hit the pause button on the video and just write what comes up. Maybe answer the question, given the stage, what is it I would do if I did not experience fear? What is it that I value by being here at this stage when I would rather be somewhere else? Write out where that somewhere else would be. If you want to know all 12, and there are actually more than that, you can certainly Google the hero or heroine's journey and, of course, get the book and read more about that. You can find the stages as a downloadable file on the website.